Hello, good evening. My name is Sotonye. If you're seeing this face for the first time, hi, you're welcome back to the channel. And today's video is a different one. We are starting a new series on the channel called the Legal Roundup. I'm a lawyer, but if you don't know, yes, I am a lawyer. I'm a legal practitioner, a women's rights lawyer, and a human rights lawyer. I typically film about motherhood, lifestyle, cooking, and all of that good stuff, but I want to introduce the law to you. I want to bring the law to your doorstep. So we're going to be doing a legal roundup. So we're going to be searching the web, the net, all the blogs about legal issues and breaking it down on this channel. And then sometimes I will also bring legal topics to your doorstep. We'll break some things down and get a good understanding of those topics. Okay, you want to get down into business, if you want to see the serious side of me, then please keep on watching. Okay, all right. So fam, today's video is going to be talking about how to get divorced in Nigeria. Okay, this is a trending topic. People are getting divorced left, right, and center. Things are happening all over Nigeria. Today on Instablog, you will see this person has separated. The next thing you see, this other person has separated. But the truth of the matter is that they might not actually be divorced. They might be separated. They may have moved out of each other's houses. They may not be living together. But are they actually legally divorced? Does it take only, oh, I've sent him divorce papers, and you sign like you see in Hollywood movies to say that, oh, you have been divorced? The truth of the matter is no. In Nigerian law, in the legal system, it takes a lot more than signing papers. Actually, you don't even sign papers the way you think to say, okay, the divorce has been official. And that is what we're talking about today. Okay, how to get legally divorced in Nigeria. Now, I'm not encouraging divorce. I'm not saying I want everybody to get divorced. I'm not a champion of divorce and separation. I'm a person who just wants to let you know what is actually the law. What does the law say about this? Okay, so yes, let's get into it. So talking about marriage and getting divorced in Nigeria, we need to actually make a few points clear. There are three types of marriage that exist in Nigeria. Okay, statutory marriage under Nigerian law, okay, under the act, the marriage under the act, and then there's customary marriage, marriage law and custom, native law and custom. That type of marriage that you share kola nut and share all these kinds of things, and you say, oh, I just did traditional marriage. No, it's actually legal and valid under the law. And then Sharia or Islamic marriage. These three types of marriages are recognized under the law. But we are talking about statutory marriage today. How can you get legally divorced under statutory marriage? That you got married in a registry, you got married in a church that has a license to actually officiate that kind of marriage, or whatever the case may be. How do you get legally divorced? Okay, and the law that governs statutory marriage under the act is the Matrimonial Causes Act, and section 15 of the act, section 15(1), tells us that the only ground for marriage, the only ground for dissolution of marriage, is that the marriage has broken down irretrievably. The marriage has broken down irretrievably. Okay, let me repeat that one more time. The marriage has broken down irretrievably. That is the only ground to approach the court to say, oh, I want to get a dissolution of marriage, right? But then, even if you think that your marriage has broken down irretrievably, that there is no way, no matter what he begs, no matter whether the family comes and they try to do family meeting or whatever, if you think that nothing is going to work, you still need to prove some certain points. You need to prove under some certain grounds that this is actually what transpired in the marriage to actually say officially the marriage has been broken down irretrievably. What do I mean? That your idea of breaking down irretrievably, the marriage breaking down irretrievably, is not the same as what the law says. Okay, so I have my laptop here. I have the act in front of me. I'm going to quickly read down some of the grounds that that the law has stipulated and said that you must come under one or two of these grounds and prove them. That is the thing about divorce in Nigeria. He may have been beating you, he may have been cheating on you, he may have been doing certain things, he may have been stealing for you and all sorts of things. But if you cannot prove it, if you don't have evidence, then sister and brother, you will still be married. Okay, so you need to have sufficient evidence and you need to be able to prove some of these things under the law. And the first grounds for the dissolution of marriage is A, that the respondent has willfully and persistently refused to consummate the marriage. The respondent has willfully and persistently refused to consummate the marriage. That means in the other room, you agree. that's the sum total of what we are saying. It means that he has refused, and or she has refused, and whoever is approaching the court by way of a petition, by the way, approach the court and say, okay, all right, this is what it is. I want to dissolve the marriage. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that since the marriage, the respondent has committed adultery and the petitioner finds it intolerable to live with the respondent. So this thing that we are moving up and down and saying, oh, men are not monogamous, African men are not monogamous, like African women, because they don't really say women, it's only African men that don't understand monogamy, but oh, he can do anything he wants, blah 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 blah. you're taking your marriage for for granted, and actually lose your marriage and your family. So adultery is a ground for dissolution of marriage. The third thing is that since the marriage, the respondent has behaved in such a manner that the petitioner cannot reasonably be expected to live with the respondent. In this ground, a lot of things can come under it. You can also bring, like, cruel treatment, abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, all those kinds of things that are not that don't have a specific definition. You can put them under this ground and say, okay, he has behaved in such a way that you cannot expect me to live with somebody who has been doing such a thing to me. Okay, the next point, or the next ground, is that the respondent has deserted the petitioner for a continuous period of at least 1 year immediately preceding the presentation of the petition. So you have deserted your marriage, or your husband or your wife, for at least 1 year. Is a ground to approach the court for dissolution of marriage. That the parties of the marriage have lived apart for a continuous period of at least 2 years immediately preceding the presentation of the petition, and the respondent does not object to a decree being granted. I think that point is very explanatory. That the parties of the marriage have lived apart for a continuous period of at least 3 years immediately preceding the presentation of the petition. Okay, so 3 years of living apart preceding the presentation of the petition. That the other party to the marriage has, for a period of not less than 1 year, failed to comply with a decree of restitution of conjugal rights made under the act. And the final point, the final ground, okay, to approach the court for dissolution of marriage is that the other party to the marriage has been absent from the petitioner for such a time and in such a circumstance as to provide reasonable grounds for presuming that the respondent is dead. So this happens a lot when I think, like, in my mind, when people relocate and say, okay, after a year, when I get my papers, I'll bring my wife over, I'll bring you over, I'll bring the kids over. We find that sometimes, like, there's no communication. Maybe it was deceit, it was fraud, or stuff like that. There are so many ways that this can play out. And if a party can prove that after an extensive period of time that she presumes, or he presumes, that the partner is dead, they can actually approach the court for dissolution of marriage. Okay, so those are the grounds by which you can approach the court to dissolve your marriage or get a divorce. Now, how do you actually approach the court? You come by way of a petition. That is the originating process that you use to approach the court. It's not a originating summons, it's not a writ of summons, any of that is a petition. Okay, so the petitioner, me for instance, will approach the court, and then there will be a respondent. Okay, petitioner and then respondent. Now, after approaching the court, evidence will be taken, cross-examination and all of that stuff, and the law says that the court will give a judgment. Okay, and the judgment of the court is called a decree nisi. A decree nisi is the interim, in quote, permit me to use that word, interim judgment of the court, because you have 3 months after the judgment has been delivered to actually make that decree absolute. So let me try to break it down in layman's terms. It means that the judge says, okay, you guys have been officially divorced, blah 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 blah, but you now have 3 months. So if some couples now, they decide, okay, they don't want to get divorced anymore, they can come back and approach the court, and the judgment, the decree nisi, will not be absolute. But if after 3 months the parties remain status quo, then the judgment will become a decree absolute, meaning that you cannot petition, you cannot go anywhere. That is it, you are divorced, you are divorced. If after that 3 months you say you want to come back, maybe you will have had marriage counseling, you have done a lot of things, you now want to come back, the courts will tell you that you have to go and marry again. You have to actually do a whole new marriage, because under the law you have been officially dissolved or divorced. So what happens in this period is that the law is trying to give people room to make any changes, and even for appeal. Like maybe the respondent or the petitioner doesn't like the terms of the decree nisi, maybe the custody terms or sharing of alimony, spousal support, whatever the case may be. You don't like the terms, you can approach the appeal court to say that, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this, and then the appeal court will now review the judgment and all of the appeal process. But if nothing happens, it becomes absolute, and that is it, you have been divorced. Okay, so another thing to note is that a marriage cannot be brought. You cannot come to the court to say, I want to get a divorce, I want to dissolve my marriage, if the marriage is under 2 years. But there are extenuating circumstances, or exceptions. But I think that the way Nigerian law works is that there are nobody wants to be quick to say, oh, let's get divorced. Nobody wants to be quick. No judge wants to quick to dissolve a marriage, because it took time for people to come together. It took money, it took resources and all of that. So the law sometimes gives way, or gives room for people to, you know, make other choices. Even before you approach the court, sometimes they may ask you, have you gone through ADR? ADR means alternative dispute resolutions. Have you tried to resolve? Have you gone for counseling? Have you seen a mediator? Have you seen your pastor? Has anything been done to actually try to resolve this situation before the court to go ahead to do that? Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this video is to demystify the idea of divorce in Nigeria. It seems so straightforward, but sometimes it's not. It might take a year, 2 years, even 3 years, depending on the contentiousness of the case, depending on the fact that whether the petitioner files a petition and the other party says, okay, I'm going to file a cross petition, meaning that I'm also going to bring my own terms for the divorce. And another thing to note is that the children are also involved. Children are also a priority in divorce proceedings, because while the court is determining the dissolution of the marriage, they are also determining the custody of the children, especially when, you know, young children are involved. So you also need to prove that you have financial standing, you have, you know, welfare, you can take care of the children. So it can get a little, it can get not a little, it can actually get a lot messy. So it's not, don't be too quick to say I want a divorce. Okay, divorce, yes, I support it as a way out for an abusive marriage or whatever the case may be, but just know that it may take a lot of time. I need to get a good lawyer so you can position yourself in the right way, because it's about, it's almost like a tug of war, you know. Sometimes some people don't even fight. They say I want to go. Under a year the case is done, but there are sometimes that is actually nasty, and then there are public records. All the evidence is public records, and your children years later can even open the file and see this is what my parents were arguing about when they wanted to get divorced. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I've been able to, you know, open the door, shed some light on what divorce in Nigeria looks like or what it entails. If you want more legal topics to be dissected for you, if you want to talk about some specific topics, please let me know in the comment section and I'll fill it for you. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share this video with your friends. And also, if you want to send me a private message, my email is always in the description box. Maybe you have a peculiar, you know, legal situation and you want some legal advice, you should actually pay me for that. But if you want us to talk about it on this channel, please send me an email or send me a DM on Instagram. My Instagram handle is always somewhere up or in the description box, or an email in the description box as well. I guess I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.